We're very excited to be here with the director, Levi Zini. Levi, tell us a little bit about yourself and your film.
I'm a filmmaker. That's a documentary filmmaker, actually, quite veteran, more than 3 decades. And Jerusalem was a project that caught me, really. I mean, at first it was an opportunity to meet a wonderful community, and a story about amazing story about this community. And I actually, when I started, I felt quite how I will put it, angry about how we are telling the story of the Ethiopian group, Ethiopian people, Jews, Beta Israel, I prefer to call them, here in Israel. Usually we describe it in the ways that our brave men went to Africa and pick up from the trees some very unpolitically word black Jews and brought them to Israel, and they saved them from whatever. That's the way that they in Israel they describe the Ethiopian Exodus, which is unreal, with very, very far from the reality. And I wanted to tell it differently. I want to tell it from the point of view of the Beta Israel people that actually forced themselves on Israel about the cooperation between the Jewish activists in Canada and in the state, and yes, the government of Israel, and yes, the Mossad people, and yes, Tzahal, and all over. But we should remember it was quite a Jewish work, let's say it in that way, and who forced to do it. It was here into Zion of Beta Israel people, and I found it very fascinating, and I jumped on it with all my force.
What most surprised you once you started jumping in, when you were making the film? What most surprised you that you learned in the process that you didn't know before?
Actually, it's part of what I told before. Before, I thought, like most of the Israelis, that the good Israelis went to Africa and brought those miserable people. That's the way we told, the way we describe it. And then you're coming and you find that it's a community that kept the Judaism more than 2,000 years, and in a very, very difficult environment. What is fascinating is that the Ethiopian people see themselves as Bnei Israel, because they are Shlomo and Bathsheba was the forefather of them, and they seen, and we have we did a series of 5-part series about the story, and in the 5-part stories there was an interview with the Ethiopian bishop of in Ethiopia, and he said, we are the Israelis, Bnei Israel, we are the son of Israel. And there is a lot of similarity between the Ethiopian Christianity and the Judaism. And in that environment, that little community of the Jewish kept their tradition and their culture, all those long years. It's amazing.
Amazing. Of course, absorption of Ethiopians, the acceptance of Ethiopians into Israeli society has been a controversial topic. Do you want to talk about that controversy a little bit?
Israel didn't want the Ethiopian Jews at the beginning. We should remember that in 48, Israel wanted every Jew just come, we need you to build a country here, to build the Jewish country in Israel. But they didn't want the Ethiopian. And they didn't want them till 77. And then Begin, Prime Minister Menachem Begin, gave the order that say, bring the Jewish people from Ethiopia. But to come to this point, there was a pressure from the little group of people, of Jewish Ethiopians that arrived to Israel and pushed it. There was a lot of push. I don't know if push is the correct word in English. Anyway, press about the Israeli government from Jewish, mostly from state and Canada. And then came the idea that, okay, let's let them come in. And then comes the religious establishment.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't want them. They had difficulties to get them because they are biblical Jews, and there is some kind of
You're referring to the rabbinic courts in Israel, who control the
correct.
Judaism
So
in
they
Israel.
didn't want them, and they want them to lead Gayer. I lost the word.
To convert.
Convert, correct. And just lately, we did a film. We called it Sisters in Blood, about 3 Ethiopian young women that lost their brothers because of police brutality. I mean, they still have a problem in Israel, this community. There is, but let's hope it will vanish soon as possible.
Yes. I mean, you have to. I think Israel needs to do this one right. But I'd love to jump into this connection. I feel this film, for me, is very much connected to the story of Passover. Where do you see the connections for yourself?
In the film, there is one guy, Gadi Yavarkan. Now he's a member in the Knesset, the parliament member in Israel. He was a young boy in the Mivtza Shlomo, Operation Solomon. He was a young guy then. And he said, and he described his coming to Israel in that way. He said that in one side, there was Ethiopian government forces. In the other one, there was rebels people. And in the middle, like in Yam Suf, in this, like in the Exodus of Egypt, we crossed together to the airplanes, and it was quite a biblical kind of operations, of miracle. I don't know how to call it. It was a biblical with a biblical. I lost my English.
Yeah.
It was a biblical moment, yeah. And it was, as they came to Israel to fight with a lot of difficulties, but they came to a place, to Jerusalem, to the place they dreamed about generation after generation, that father told his son and so on. They arrived to the place they dreamed about. And this place wasn't the way they dreamed about, but okay, let's make it that heaven.
I think that was always the case, even in the biblical stories. It wasn't exactly as perfect as people thought.
Correct, correct.
How do you celebrate Passover? What do you do for Passover, if anything?
But again, please.
What do you do for Passover? How do you celebrate Passover?
With my with my family. I had some tragic the last 2 years.
No.
I lost my mother, and
Oh,
then I lost my wife.
I'm so sorry.
And we gather together, what left. And so, and we celebrate the Passover together. It's a family holiday, no doubt. And we gather together and celebrate.
I've been asking all the filmmakers in this festival how they celebrate, and that notion of family has been the real connecting point here. And I think, beyond whatever religious or Jewish traditions there are, I think this concept of it being a family holiday is really that at the core.
Yeah, it's no doubt. It's every Passover, all the family gather together, all of it. We are quite a big family, so we gather together and we celebrate the Seder together, reading all the Haggadah from first word to the end with songs.
You're doing more than many. Levi, thank you so much. Thank you for the beautiful film, and Chag Sameach.
Thank you. Enjoy it, and they are amazing community. The Beta Israel people, it's amazing story, amazing community.
Thank you.
Thank you.